Party people in the place to be. Live from 58 Dream Street, we're James with Games. And today is a landmark day in the history of this little stream because it's episode 37 of our Ultima V Warriors of Destiny Let's Play. And it's more than likely the last episode. It's a crisp, not technically winter day, but it's a winter's day here in Halifax. Got a nice warm cup of tea. Beautiful day to put the rightful king back on the throne. So let's do that. Just firing up GOG Galaxy here to launch Ultima V. Oh, remembering in advance to turn the volume down. Spare us all the horrible title screen crackling sound effect. So we're coming in, assuming that my estimates are correct, that I'm wrapping this thing up today. We are coming in right around 100 hours. It took me, with no reference to any help materials for the game except for the original pair of texts, your book of lore, your whatever else that comes with it. And as I'm saying this out loud, I'm realizing I have to open those just in case we need them one last time. Got them all on hand. And with no real grounding in classic CRPGs beyond one heavily walkthrough assisted playthrough of Ultima 4. 100 hours and we've hacked it through to the end. It's been a lot of fun. Right now, we're in the final dungeon. The 7th level. So far, no dungeon in Ultima 4 or 5 has had more than 8 levels. On top of that, this room in front of me I've already cleared out, and it contains the stairs. Or the ladder, I should say. Down to level 8. So I'm thinking we're awfully close to the end here. Everyone's at full health. What's the state of our magic points? Not full, because we spent some of those bringing people back. But John is doing quite well. Getting people up to full health. Getting ready. So we're going down to the 8th level. Now, there is room for the game to pull a trick, because looking up here at the level marker, clearly this can handle the digit 9. There could be a surprise 9th floor, but I'm skeptical. Ultima likes 3s and 8s. 3 principles, 8 virtues, and then just move those across everything. 3 Shadow Lords, 3 shards, 8 shrines, 8 dungeons, so on and so forth. 8 core companions of the Avatar. So here we are. Nothing to do but go down the ladder into what turns out to be, as we shall see. Why does it keep saying what? It's my numlock? I've got a numlock issue here. My ergonomic keyboard separates the keypad from the keyboard. I don't know where it is, so bear with me a second. Ah! Got it. Pressing numlock once, and now I can set an active character, because certainly setting active characters is the way to go. You do not want to be managing everybody one step at a time to wrangle 4 heroes down a single ladder. Okay. Alright. Here we go. Boom. So what do we have in this room? We have 4 dragons, 4 sea serpents. This is a serious room. So we want to get to work quickly. We do not have the crown on, as often happens. So I'll just put on Lord British's crown, suppress the magic power of these horrible dragons, and we're going to get Shimino fighting right off the bat. Or missing. And Elo, you get involved too. I'm going to try to gang up on... Hits the Avatar. Classic Elo. Gweno, though, let's... We've got We have the capacity to summon up to 13 demons. Let's get some assistance. There's one. That demon is a friendly demon under our control. Jana is also not in range for any fighting. Let's get another demon buddy in here. Now it's the demon's turn. We're going for dragon kills. Okay. Sea serpents are tough, but they're not nearly as tough as dragons. So we want to prioritize, focus our fire on dragons, or the avatar, I guess. Yellow, if you must. And we're working on it. Got this dragon already lightly wounded. Does Jana have an angle? She does not. One dragon heavily wounded because these demons are tough. We're taking a beating, but we're okay. Chumbawampa! Oh, nice! Great day for a raid, because this is as exciting as it could possibly get in Ultima V, right? It's the end. We're taking it to the very end. Why does it still say I'm on the 7th level when I just came down a ladder? I choose to believe that I'm on the 8th level and very close to the end, no matter what the game says. Jana doesn't have many options from where she is. Oh, heck. Let's get a party going. Bring another demon to the floor. How's it going, Chumbawampa? Oh ho! Party of 5. Hello, Actually Truer and Co. We're playing Ultima V, and not one of the fancy, more recent versions. Sound off in the chat, any of you. Love to hear from you. Howdy, Actually Truer. So I'm right at the end here. So spoiler warning, to the extent that if you were wondering, this very old DOS RPG is probably going to end with the good guys winning and the rightful king being restored to the throne. I don't think there's any other spoilers you're going to get here, because I think I'm past all the puzzles, all the mysteries, all the challenges, except this room full of dragons and sea serpents. One of the dragons is critical. Critical condition, you love to see it. This demon's going to help us out here. Got another one heavily wounded. Hello, Laughing Lynx. Welcome to the stream. On the weekends lately. Great. Glad you're not worried about spoilers. Yeah, I had never played much Ultima until very recently. When I was young, my buddy had Ultima 6 on his computer. And I was always fascinated by it. We would fire it up, and the character creation is really fun, so we do the character creation. And then it opens with a battle, and so we do the scripted battle. And then it's an open world game, and we had no idea what to do, and we couldn't do anything. We could do nothing from there but wander around. But it always stuck in my head. And then when I was a little older, I'm dating myself here, but Ultima Online came out. And another group of buddies wanted us to all get into that. And so I did, and I never had much fun with it. So my first, in-depth experience with Ultima wasn't great. Then I, at some point, picked up a retro RPG collection. And that, also, 1 dragon down, 3 to go, plus all these sea serpents. And so through that, I got access to a bunch of different DOS RPGs, most of which were incomprehensible to me, these old games. The one that I spent the most time on there was Rogue, the original roguelike. And I loved that, but the rest of them, even the Ultimas, fired up all the early Ultimas and just bounced right off them. Didn't have the undiagnosed ADHD might have played a role here, but I just had no clue what to do in an open world game that'll just let you do what you want. Did not work with my brain. So recently, it was announced that EA was pulling the Ultimate Underworld games off of GOG Galaxy, and I'd heard good things about those games, so I thought I'll check that out. Oh, let's get Abra in the frame there. Look at her. Hey, Abra, you're on TV. So I picked that up. That's a first-person dungeon crawler, the original, like, truly 3D first-person dungeon crawler, and I had fun with that. And then I realized, hey, you know what? I can have whatever classic PC games I want on account of, you know, they're all pretty cheap on GOG Galaxy. Why don't I try these Ultimas again? And I played Ultima 4 to completion with heavy reliance on walkthroughs to kind of figure out what the hell was going on and what I was doing. And once I had done that, I wanted to try one the old-fashioned way. So here I am 100 hours later, and I've made my way to the final dungeon of Ultima V without the full extent of assistance I got was one regular viewer, a couple of regular viewers who are big Ultima fans would occasionally be like, you know, your strategy here makes no sense, right? Like, they weren't giving me spoilers, but they'd be like, do you know that you can just do this? Like, if you had read the manual, you would know this. And it's like, oh, yeah. Well, maybe I wasn't as careful reading the manual as I could have been. At any rate, brought me to the point that I'm at now. I made it through. The only storyline advice that they gave me was at the very, very end when I had 2 out of the 3 shards, but I couldn't find the Shard of Hatred. One of my viewers just said, hey, you know that that you've already found the person who told you exactly where the Shard of Hatred was and you just forgot to write it down, right? And then he said, try retracing your steps when you were investigating the whole Shadow Lord of Hatred, Shard of Hatred thing in the first place. So I retraced my steps and was like, oh, yes, I was just told this long ago. Besides that, bumbled through on my own. It's been a lot of fun. And here I am. Long journey. Probably gonna switch it up and place, maybe get something a little more contemporary going on the channel a couple times. Ooh, friendly fire from my summoned demons. That's okay. I appreciate lurking. Juices the stats. And yeah, and you have a good sleep. Alright, oof. Elo's in rough shape here, which is just classic Elo. Alright, Demon, help us here. Let's, well, try to keep Elo alive. I mean, I have a bunch of Resurrect Scrolls. It's end game. I can expend whatever resources I feel the need to. Okay. So winning this battle at this point is not going to be very hard. Then we also have to get out of the room. There's a lot of water. Hopefully there are some hidden foot switches or wall switches that can reroute this river. Because I do not know... I know how to get all my magic users, which is 5 out of 6 party members, across the river. The blink spell. I do not know how to get Shimino, the fighter, the one who's active right now. I have no idea how to get him across. Can't cast any magic. So hopefully there's some hidden gimmick in this room, and we'll just use it there. Ooh, the last dragon is critical. At that point, we're on easy street because sea serpents are tough, but they're not level 7 party tough. And we'll stomp them out. Didn't even have to use a stop time scroll here, so if there are challenges ahead, I'm still ready to do what I can there. Stop time. Make it all stand still. Get a whole lot of cheap hits in on chrono-locked enemies. And that demon's only even lightly wounded. Sea serpent heavily wounded. Really just gotta land hits on this dragon now. And, oh, missed. But sea serpent critical. It's good to see. Both sea serpents critical. Dead dragon. It's all over but the crying. And of course, there is some hidden enemy somewhere here. So we gotta figure that out. Okay. Let's put Shimino in charge of... Ah! There's a hidden Mongbat. And they're stacked. So there are definitely foot switches and other ways to open up a room here. Open up the walls. Hopefully shift the rivers around. Because Mongbats don't have any teleporting ability. And that was all that was there. Victory. Okay, now we just gotta figure it out. How do we get out of here? Room is permanently cleared now, which is very nice. Yeah. When I search the treasure chest that a dragon dropped, it tells me no trap. It's always a lie. Dragons are too crafty. Inquas Wiz. A spell that will do something. Reveal hidden enemies or something along those lines. Ah. Okay. No trap? Is it no trap or is it a complex trap? I could technically just skip right to jimmying the lock there, but oh well. Now that the victory peaceful music is playing, my demon allies who I summoned just look like they're doing a happy victory dance. Okay. Just gotta get out of this room. Our greatest challenge yet on this quest. Okay. Anything around you, Jana? No. No clear way out. Mysterious. Okay, let's try a few things. Let's shoot these waterfalls. See if there are hidden switches behind the waterfalls. Perhaps not. Okay. You know, in a pinch, we can leave this area. Save the game with the battle defeated. Mix up a bunch of blink scrolls, or spells, concoctions, and then find out if there's a switch on the other side that would get the job done for us. Very strange. Okay. We're just gonna get out of here. The room cleared. Oh, the lower waterfalls. Excellent. Hello, Waffle Syrup, by the way. Glad you're here for the culmination of this epic journey. I had already put one person up the stairs, so oops. Sorry, demon pals. You can't come. You're just... Oh. They have to come. That's fun. I don't have a button to select which one of them. But then they disappear. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna let's just get out of here. Because once we're out, we can use some of our Vasmani. Light up a torch. And Jana cast a Vasmani for Shimino. And of course for Elo. Go figure. Elo got roughed up in the fight. But yeah, let's see if those bottom... Well, actually, hold on. I'm going to mix up the blink spells just in case. But I suspect... I like your instincts, Waffle Syrup. I think those bottom waterfalls may very well be the answer. But okay. Blink, Inpour takes Silk and Moss. And since I came well prepared for anything, I have... Let's see, we could mix up to 99 if we need to. Silk and Moss. Am I 100% sure that's what I just said? Yep. We're not going to do 99. Just makes up 15. That's great. Throwing in a protective save just in case. Here we go. We're going to get through this room. I'm very optimistic that once I leave the room, it will update the floor. And this isn't a weird case where the 7th floor somehow actually occupies multiple floors to get around the 8 floor dungeon limit while making a very big dungeon. But okay. First, ELO. Take a shot at those waterfalls. No. What a strange room. But okay. ELO. Cast Impor. Failed. How does Impor work in a... I know it works in battle, or so the thing claims. Impor. Second circle. Third circle. Teleports. What? Won't. Oh, never mind. It works in battles, but not dungeon battles. So there's something here. Ah. Shoot the wall. Problem solved. Beautiful. And that would have opened up that Mongbat horde had I not discovered them and killed them using the halberds reach through walls gimmick. Alright. Here we go. Another step closer. Part of me wants to start stalling just to see if British shows up. Because I know he wants to see my reaction. I mean, you know, I can tell him later what I felt about the epilogue if I get there. Before he's able to arrive. Here we are, level 8. Nothing but a ladder up. I don't love that. Let's take a look at the gem. That's the whole place. Just a ladder up. Okay. So we're not right at the end yet, because probably we're going to go back to a different part of level 7, have to find our way down to level 8 again. Okay. Here we go. Up into a room full of Mongbats and a poison field. And a poor unfortunate Reaper who can't do anything. Alright. These Mongbats are not nearly as concerning as Mongbats that you meet out in the underworld. Because the whole gimmick with Mongbats is while they're much tougher than bats, they're not really that tough. They depend on overwhelming numbers, which they just don't have in this battle. They go down pretty easy. So unless... They might be stacked in this little... Like this guy might be like a whole bunch of Mongbats and they'll slowly make their way out as I kill others, but that's not using your strength in numbers even if it is the case. Yeah. The strength in numbers strategy... Oh, and they're not even stacked. The strength in numbers strategy involves using all your numbers at once. Having a giant numerical advantage doesn't matter if you go 1 or 2 at a time, like you were. What am I trying to say? In a, henchman in a ninja movie, in a kung fu movie. The Avatar has taken some damage, as is Shimino, from the ones who were diagonal to him, but it's not a lot. And hey, look, the Mongbats going over the poison field absorbed it. So that's nice. Only 2 to go. Only 1 to go. Get some... It just wouldn't be this version of the Avatar and his companions if we didn't get some friendly fire in on ELO here at the end. And now Gwenno, even though she's never going to level up to level 7 like the rest of the party, she can still have the Reaper. And here we are. Let Shimino out so he can perform his role. Actually, let's check out How close was Gwenno? Oh, she's not even close. Doesn't matter. Yeah, I knew there'd be a complex trap. There was a time long ago when like meeting a Reaper was a glorious moment because we're going to kill the Reaper and get Reaper treasure. And that's going to have a whole lot of stuff. Now it doesn't even matter. Killing dragons and sand traps like the treasuriest enemies in the game means nothing to me. Because what do you need it all for at this point? Actually, you know what? I say that, but my ability to restock on stop time and summon demon scrolls on my way down through this dungeon has been great. It's been very helpful. Stopped me from... made me more confident in using them. Like, I haven't come close to running out of either. But who knows? Alright. I'm inclined to say there's a secret door here. Oops. Lights went out. Oh, you know what? Having just wasted a torch. Let's camp it down. Julia's in full health. I mean, so is Gwenno, but poor Gwenno's only level 6. She needs her sleep. Huh? Look at the Avatar's health. He's got a regen ring on, so even if he had a bad sleep, he'd be cranking it up. We got our full magic mana points or spell points or whatever they're called. Oh, jeez. There's the answer. Just drop down a pit. And now we're back on level 8. But what's this version of level 8 look like? It looks pretty familiar. Did I just fall back to where I was before? No, I did not. Once again, getting into a battle with dragons with no crown on. That's okay. Here's the crown. Alright. Well, another dragon fight. Let's go, team. This one doesn't seem as intimidating, to be honest. Because those two dragons are locked behind that barrier. The Shadow Lords, I understand what their plan was, setting up their impenetrable barriers everywhere to defend their own monsters. The problem that they've run into, though, is that with Lord British's scepter, which I, by the way, stole right out of their own fortress, their own earthly fortress. If I have that, which I do, I can quite easily, I can quite easily destroy these barriers whenever I want. But if I don't want to, because I want to cheese the dragons, I have that option too. And Waffle Syrup, you are absolutely correct. The Shadow Lords should have equipped their all their hench monsters with halberds or morning stars, weapons that can reach right through walls, just like in real life. Now, even though we've got the two dragons isolated, this is not necessarily an easy fight. Dragons are tough. And like, we've only got... oh, one of them is heavily wounded. When we drop one of them, we'll be in pretty good shape. Although, both the Avatar and Shimino are getting roughed up. Both heavily wounded. This one might be critical now. Because it moved. Yeah. When it's engaged and then it moves, even if you didn't get the notice, because it was the grazing blow that moved him from heavily to critical. Now they're both critical. Not even going to need to heal. Not nearly so fearsome as you seem, dragons. Avatar takes a grazing blow from Julia, but we're done here. Alright, Shimino. Time to cheese it. Stacked Mongbats. Oh, whoops. We gotta use the scepter while being careful not to unleash the dragons. Now, obviously there's still some gimmickry going on here. I suspect they're hiding right beyond in the darkness there. You gotta think of how I want to approach this. I think I'll start by, let's scepter away everything that's not containing potential hidden enemies. Because then we can check some of these dark spots. We're definitely still in a fight. There is something lurking. Fortunately, we get a miss message. Oh yeah, it's just lots of mongbats stacked up in there. Okay. Well, at this point, I think we should heal good old Shimino, since we're about to have him... No, that didn't work very well. Mani, and it doesn't seem related to spell power at all. And it just has something like a 0 to 30 potential range, or maybe even slightly wider than that. It can do a lot of healing, but it usually doesn't. It can be very disappointing in that regard. And the super healing spell, Vast Mani, doesn't work in battles. There. Victory! Something about this darkness they were in. Huh. Made them not inclined to come out and fight. Which is great. It worked out well for us. Alright, Shimino. Pick up a bunch of stuff, including an In-Mani Core, another Resurrect Scroll. Oops. Don't need to search this. I know there's a complex trap. Right. Don't... What did I just say? Treasure inside a treasure. You love to see it. And Tim, stop time. Nothing wrong with that. So man, we had a stressful week in this household. Because this little one, who did not have surgery yet, she has a surgery coming up, but her sister had surgery. Calzen Core, summon another demon if we need to. Now, is there a stairway that we're standing on? Yes. So that's how we got in. But is there a secret way out? Let's find out. Anyway, her sister had surgery, and she did not react well to her sister being gone for most of a day, which was to be fair, they're 13 years old, and that's the longest they'd ever been separated in their lives. So I can appreciate being a little, off-put by the sudden absence of your constant companion since birth. But, suffice to say, the cat who had the surgery, you'd barely know... I don't think she knows that there's anything strange about her leg. She doesn't know there's sutures there, as far as I can tell. She hasn't picked at them or done any untoward behavior. She hasn't been grumpy or protective. She lets me inspect them. She's not worried about them. And so, meanwhile, this one, just her eating habits were just completely ruined all week. Even today, she's basically back to normal, but with the caveat that she got excited for TRATs, at the time. She was there, looking at me, and then I said the word, and she was very excited, and she ran to her cat house, and she went up on it for the first time on the platform, because that's where her sister has been kind of in repose So she's been avoiding it all week. She went right up there, up the cat platform, and she went to all the spots where I put the things while she's doing her little ritual. She went to every one of them and sniffed them, and then just moved on to the next one because she still thinks like there's something about this that it's not my space anymore. So there's something suspect about what's going on, and then I took all the ones that I'd put up there and I scattered them around on the floor, and she came down and gobbled them all up. It was some very silly stuff. Okay. All right. I can just climb right back up here. Forgot about that. So, there's no secrets. Are there? Oh! There's two other ways out of that room behind me. Let's find them. Okay. Very strange. What if it's... Aha! Wait a minute. No. For a second, you know what I just briefly thought? I noticed this. I was like, have the buttons just been on display the whole time? But no, that's just, if it's not connected to anything on the left, it looks like that. For a moment there, I was a little alarmed. Okay, boom. Secret exits. Let's try north first. Now, I know there's a pit, so there's no need to fall through it. Let's just clamber on down, see what's here. Yet another place where we can climb up into a room. More than likely containing a battle. So, let's review the state of our magic points. Full. Throw a little vast money to Shimino. And save. Here we go. What awaits? Oh, not a room. And then up here, we have a bunch of pits and then a ladder down. So let's not fall in the pits. Because we have the capacity to avoid them. And, you know, nice controlled climb down. Doesn't even take our grappling hook. And here it's a blank. And that's all it is. Okay. What if I climb in the pits? I wind up in a place with 2 ladders up and another pit up. Oh, and there's a gazer. Just a little random combat looking for me. What's in this room? Back where we started. Okay. It's alright. Well. So this wasn't an up-down before, I don't believe. So what about this one? Just the other side. Oops. Oh no, giant rats. Get 'em, Gweno. Don't even care to take their treasure. Okay. So what if I take this pit up? Where am I now? Pits and ladders down. Okay. We'll try the other way out. The southern road. In some ways, this is a frustrating maze. But on the other hand, I've been reading a lot about wizardry, one of the earliest major CRPG series. Suffice to say, that game, those early games were filled with so much bullshit, just to frustrate players, that I can't get mad at this. Okay, just a ladder up. Oh my goodness. This place is incomprehensible. Okay, let's try the middle pit. See what that does. Into a room filled with sharks and wisps. We're laughing at these wisps. Because their whole thing is magic. What magic are you going to do here? And a bunch of sharks. This is actually the most dangerous sharks I've ever been because they can actually attack us. Most of the time you meet sharks, you're on your ship. It's just like target practice. Because as long as they only have melee attacks. I don't know how tough wisps are when they do get melee attacks. Guess I'll keep an eye on the avatar. They're picking at him, but you know what? Let's kill the sharks. Get the sharks done, then we'll gang up on the wisps. Oh, I see. Shimino is getting beat on by the wisp, and it's actually hitting him pretty hard. But the wisp is critical now. His shark friends are all dead. Shimino's taking it from all comers. Now we're just killing the ones that aren't even brave enough to engage us in straight up combat. Another one down. She knows it's almost 3 p.m. Atlantic Daylight Time, which is a good sign if she's enthusiastic about LUNCH. Oh hey, I hit a secret switch by mistake that closed the way out. Fortunately, if that's not reopenable, we'll just finish the combat, leave, and come back. Oh, we've opened a new secret. Dealing with puzzles on a very informal basis while we focus on cleaning up this combat. Boom. Victory! Alright, Avatar. Figure it out. It's probably just this simple. Yep. Turns out the true exit is to the east. Very well. That might have even also been foot switched rigged. So that even if I hadn't had that missed attack, if I tried to go at the north, it might have just closed up on me anyway. Or alternately, we're about to find out that no, the north is the way that you need to go. At any rate, we're entering another part of level 8. Who could have predicted? Okay, throw a save down. Before I go back up there, let's see. Let's see whether you can just leave. No. Okay, fair enough. We'll remember this room. In fact, you know what? Once I get everyone out, why don't I have the avatar mess around a little more? Okay, I think we're leaving to the east. At any rate, just finding something new makes it feel like progress. So let's keep going. Alright, this is a tough room. Except that they've gimmicked themselves once again for our benefit. And we do appreciate it. Those purple magic barriers are just, they have not been effectively deployed by our foes, and we thank them for it. With a little bit more effort, they could have made things really hard for us. That's a fair point, Waffle Syrup, although I'm inclined to say there's a really good chance that the game just ends. Like, you know, that we're on auto play once we meet Good Lord British. Now, of course, the Shadow Lords may just not realize that they're in a video game. So they can't prepare for that. And that's what they were thinking. Take those two bits out. Uh-oh. Okay, that's not good. Are there spots that everyone can get to? There are not. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, there are. If someone stands on the stairs, they can all get off of the lava that just appeared. Oh no. I have to unlock the avatar from being the main guy. Alright. Everyone but Jana is now to safety. Okay. Team is safe. Let's get back to the business of taking cheap shots at our enemies. Supposed to be also the option. Gweno hit. Is the lava spreading? No, they don't seem to be at all. So that's problematic. Oh, you know what it is? I just couldn't see the graphics because of the bloodstain. Okay, here's the plan. Strategic retreat for everyone who doesn't have a halberd. Perhaps with Jana stopping on her way out. You know what? Almost certainly is. Are Shimino and Ilo also dying? I was not paying enough attention here. Okay. It's fine. Let's beat a strategic retreat here. Oh, okay. Forget a strategic retreat. That's enough for me to make this work. 2 safe spots are all we need to try to make it through this battle in the cheapest way possible. The only way I know how to do it. Alright. Well, we don't technically have this under control since it's quite possible that as we reduce their numbers, they're going to get much less cooperative about standing in positions where we can hit them. But for now, getting all kinds of free hits in. We're going to reduce the ranks of the demons. I know one of them is heavily wounded, which is great. One of them is barely wounded. One's critical. I'm not sure enemies flee in this dungeon. I think it's quite possible that they don't. We discovered that I used a strategy that was suggested to me by British I was dealing with some wisps who were in a hidden spot, but it was a hidden spot that was more than 2 squares away from the nearest free spot, so I could not gimmick them with the halberd, which was unfortunate. So what I wound up doing was putting on invisibility rings on every member of the party and then taking the crown off. So the wisps came out, but joke's on them because they've got no one to attack. And then we killed them. But British's theory, the way he described it to me was, if everyone has an invisibility ring on, they'll just leave because they'll perceive that there's no fight to be had. But they did not leave; they just hung around, and that probably extends this demon down here is critical, but he doesn't seem to be trying to get away. Or maybe he is. This is my whole theory off base. Who knows? Well, got this one lightly wounded. Here's one thing that I think is going to differentiate this game from Ultima 4. There are many things, but Ultima 4, the end boss is a trivia quiz about the virtues. Whereas I suspect that this time, there's not any end boss. It's just literally Lord British will be like, well, I'm glad you came. There goes a demon. And another one. Oh, and that one's critical too. There goes that one. And this one's barely wounded. But that one's critical. Heavy. You know what? It's time. Let's get in there. Toss in the scepter, the precious regalia of Lord British, back and forth. Like we're playing devil sticks. Oh, no. Demon escaped. Which is fine by me. Victory. Alright, Shimino. We might as well. Key broke, key broke. There's no treasure there. That was a Mongbat chest. Yeah, it was the demons who were actually depending on that. We thought that it was bad battlefield design. They couldn't use it to their advantage. They had that shield up just because they didn't want to fight. We took it down. They're like, all right, you know, it's fine, you know. I liked when Lord British was the king. When, you know, things were great in Britannia before Blackthorn's regime. Okay. Get out of here, but now it's a clear room. So we won't have as big of a problem with it on the way back up. Let's camp it down for a good 9 hours. Julia can take watch. Let's find out what happens, and then we're going to take a tiny intermission. What happened is it worked great. Okay, it is now lunchtime, so we'll be right back. One moment. And as I might have suspected, the cat runs eagerly for lunch and then stops and stares at the bowls, and I was like, I don't know. But she's getting there. She'll be back to normal in time. Okay, so having made it out of that room, we see a ladder up. Secret doors? There aren't. Here we go. Oh, right. This is what's afoot here. Okay. Through the fire, team. This time we will get the magic barrier out of the way quickly. And we'll head right on through. Perfect. Okay. There's a pit down. Back to the 8th floor. Okay. Obviously we're at full mana. Full spellcasting ability. So let's get some vast money going on. And Jana, heal thyself. I think the rest of the team's in good enough form considering they're all fighting from the back. The ranged with their magic axes down into her. This is it. So let's just review something really quickly. Go to my spreadsheet here. Someone had this vision. Where was it? It was in Empath Abbey. Yeah, there's no real sense of like, oh, we're drawing to the climax now. Right? It was just a series of kind of the exact same up and down, up and down, up and down. Bah! There's Lord British, trapped in the mirror. Yeah. Barbara, the flame keeper of Empath Abbey, the keeper of the flame of love, told me of a vision she had. I saw a great man in a distant place. I saw him as if through a looking glass. I saw naught but his reflection. More than that, I do not know. And there is the reflection of Lord British. So Avatar let's see what we can get down to here. The Avatar approaches Lord British and is absorbed into the mirror. Well, I think the idea here is we're all going to pile in. Hopefully there's a plan. Hopefully someone knows how to get out of the mirror dimension. And Rule Britannia begins to play. Lord British says, "Well met, James. Didst thou bring my box?" "I did, Lord British. I've been carrying this friggin' box around, and this was it? All that time I spent trying to figure out a way to open the box, you just had to bring a box along?" "Yes." Lord British carefully opens the box. "Oh, you're not going to explain the trick?" He says, "An artifact of astral power fell to this earth long ago from beyond the skies. From the world that thee and I both call home did it come." Oh! Regular Earth. "Often did I return to the old world with its magic, and now will it free us from this prison." Okay. Yeah! Waffle Syrup, that's a great question. I wish British was here. Like British the viewer. British the chat participant. Because he could tell us, or Stimpinski could tell us. Real shame that both those dudes wound up having some... I mean, it's Saturday afternoon. Of course, it's perfectly reasonable to have something going on, but... Older even than Mondane's evil are the forces which bind us here. But older still is the power of the Orb of the Moons. "Follow!" cries Lord British as he extracts a small red sphere from the wooden box. He then casts it to the floor. "Our worlds await." I can't get over Rule Britannia. And here we are. Time and weather have taken their toll on the wooded path between your house and the circle of stones. For a long time you stand within the circle in the misty woods, dazed and lost, overcome by the disorienting journey between worlds. But these words are too familiar to lead you far astray. These woods are too familiar to lead you far astray. Turning away from the morning sun, a short walk brings you to the doorstep of your own long deserted house. Much time has passed since the night you left, but your front door is unlocked and opens at a touch as if to greet you home. The Avatar apparently is a full-on homeowner, not even a mortgage. Entering, you lay to rest the arms that served you in your quest. Gone are the dark feelings that this day might be your last. Gone are the pains of losses and the joys of victories in your quest to save a kingdom. Gone also are your TV set, stereo, and living room furniture, a reminder that evil dwells still within your own world, and that your quest of the Avatar is not yet at an end. I'll say right now, I know enough about Ultima 6 that I know it's not about the Avatar stomping around the real world with a sword trying to find the person who stole his TV. That night, you lay safe and warm in your own bed, but the comfort of your home offers you no peace. The insistent questions in your mind will not be laid to rest. What of Britannia's fate? How fares Lord British? Is the tyrant Blackthorn unseated at last? Or does innocent blood still spill for the cause of his reign? Perhaps the worst fear of all is that you will never know the answers you seek, as those answers are nowhere to be found in this world. Finally, sleep comes, and you embrace it willingly, as though solace might be found in dreams. Am I gonna have a dream that tells me about what's happening in Britannia? The dream! You stand in shadow, in a vast, stark chamber, sparsely lit by smoking torches. Manacles and instruments of torture abound. Ugh. With a sudden chill, you recognize the throne room of Blackthorn's palace. His demon guards are not in attendance, but the massive wooden door swings gently on one brass hinge, as if some monstrous creatures had been in a great hurry to leave. Blackthorn bears little resemblance to the proud ruler who once held you at his mercy. Now, the black-robed king slumps heavily in his ironwood throne. Before him stands Lord British, whose armor of tattered leather and tarnished steel is oddly complemented by a serpentine amulet, a golden scepter, and a regally bejeweled crown. Blackthorn looks upon Lord British without hatred, without even surprise, but with a passive calmness, as would a prisoner awaiting the sentence of hanging. Thy deeds were black, yet thy punishment is not mine to give. Lord British speaks gently to the remnant of a man who was once king. The evil of thy reign did not begin within thy heart, though there it must be ended. I have no wish to see thee die, for having been ensnared by dark powers that took thy will from thee. Instead, I offer thee a choice. Thou canst return to Castle Britannia with me and accept the trial and verdict of the Great Council. Or Lord British holds aloft the orb of the moons. He does not appear to focus his will upon it as he did in the dungeon, but instead he closes his eyes and tosses the orb carelessly into the air. The red gate springs up where it lands, just to the right of Blackthorn's throne. Thou canst enter this gate and live thy life in exile in a place that neither I nor thee hath ever seen. Blackthorn rises slowly, tiredly, and stands to face Lord British. He lifts his head as if to speak, but pauses instead, holding the true king's gaze with an unreadable expression. Finally, he turns away and gathers the folds of his cloak around him. Without so much as a last glance over the shoulder, Blackthorn steps through the gate and is gone. Be it known that on the 20th day of the 3rd month of the year 140, James the Avatar saved the life of our sovereign Lord British, thereby saving our people and our land. You know what? For old time's sake, let's make sure we get this message right. I'm going to turn my own speakers up a little bit. Enjoy this. Rule Britannia. Okay, so this says we're off to a good start. The quest of the Avatar is forever. The quest of the Avatar is forever. Report now, thy quest complete in 12 months, 15 days, to Lord British at Origin Systems. Little over 1 year of in-game time elapsed as the Avatar and his companions trawled the lands of Britannia, searching for the truth. Back in the 80s, they were big on like getting fan mail, getting player feedback, and it's not that there was literally no online in the 80s, but there was very little. So like most of it was just like, hey, come on, write me a letter. Famously, actually, the reason that Richard Garriott introduced the virtue ethics philosophy into Ultima, beginning with Ultima 4, the quest of the Avatar, was that his publisher, Sierra, I believe Sierra Online was his publisher for the first two Ultimas, they had his address wrong. They were not forwarding his fan mail to him properly. And then when he founded Origin and published his own Ultima 3, he started getting feedback, and some of it was from fans, but a lot of it was from angry parents saying, You made this horrible game where my son is going around murdering shopkeepers and robbing them and stuff, and the game says he's the hero, and what kind of message are you imparting? And Gary was like, that's not heroic at all. He wanted to keep the open world freedom of Ultima, but then he wanted to make it so that you can't actually, you're rewarded for being good. In Ultima 4, you can't be evil and win the game. I think you could in this game, but otherwise it wouldn't work. So there we are. Does anything happen if I press key now? Yeah, the game just exits. Quit to DOS. Well, there we are. Wow. What a journey. So, some comments. I like that ending. It was pretty good. I think there's something hilarious. And let's let me Google as we're sitting here. What happens in Ultima 5 if you don't have the box? Ultima 5 ending no box. Okay. Here's an Ultima 5 walkthrough, freeing Lord British. Well, this walkthrough does tell you must have the sandalwood box, otherwise do not go yet. Doesn't say what happens, but I'm inclined to say it's probably just a lock screen. Yeah. I'm probably not going to do a full replay of Ultima 5 just to screw up the ending and find out what happens. I'm inclined to say he just goes like, oh no, we need that friggin' box. And maybe the game freezes up. Kind of like if you ever played the original Dragon Quest. When you get to the Dragon Lord at the very end, the Dragon Lord's like, why don't you just join me? You're really powerful. I'm really powerful. We could rule this world. And if you say yes, all the white outlines of the boxes and the white text all turns red, and then the game is just done. Like nothing else happens. You got to reset. So I'm guessing that probably it's just something like that. Lord British goes like, oh no, wait. Here's how we'll find out. Ultima 5 transcript. Okay. Okay. Hoping. 33 mentions of Lord British in this transcript. Hopefully some of them are the headings above all of his potential dialogue, and then we'll find out. Ding, ding, ding. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 1, 2, 3. Nope. Okay, what if... No, this Ultima 5 transcript doesn't have the ending in it. Ridiculous. Yep. Nothing. So yeah, it's almost certainly just some kind of, you can't win now. And then you've got more information. And you go back and you find the box. And then you try it again, you win. But it'd be annoying to crawl out of that dungeon with its crazy floors. So yeah, so here's one thing. I like the ending. It's simple. But it provides some resolution. It's kind of interesting. Blackthorn's a broken man at the end, because presumably, with the Shadow Lords all destroyed. No, you know what? It couldn't have just been when the Shadow Lords were destroyed, because I bet if I had gone back to Blackthorn's castle after killing them, he probably would still want to harm me. Or would he? Let's find out. keeps Castle of Blackthorn. Yeah. Now, Blackthorn has no like, oh no, dialogue. So he doesn't react to the Shadow Lords being killed. But at some point in this process, the spell on his mind snapped, and we can infer that since he was allegedly a good guy, despite having the very sinister name Lord Blackthorn, that he was, very traumatized by his experience. So he takes this option to just leave. Will that come up later? Have we heard the last of Lord Blackthorn? There's 4 more Ultima games in the mainline series. So it's entirely possible that he'll show up again. Or maybe he's just gone forever. There's no way of knowing just yet. It's going to take a while to find out because not only, when I say there's 4 mainline Ultima games, Ultima 7 was quite famously released as 2 games. Ultima 7 Black something, the Black Gate, and then Ultima 7 Serpent Isle. And then there's Ultima 8, and then there's Ultima 9. So anything could happen in those. They could involve Blackthorn coming back. Who knows? So, yeah. On the epilogue, British, if you're watching this on replay, I liked it. It was nice. It was simple. I think it's really interesting that the orb of the moons turns out to be so important to freeing Lord British, but you don't even know that it's in the box. You don't even know that you need the box. You get the breadcrumbs because Sadouj is in there and he's trying to get the box and he wants to get into it, and he says, without this, Lord British can never return. But it wasn't immediately apparent to me that obviously I spent a lot of time thinking the Shard of Hatred was what was in that box. Yeah. So pretty cool ending. Sends the Avatar home, which is just kind of what has to happen because the whole idea with these games is they're going to be set in the same world, but time is going to pass. So the Avatar's got to get out of there for a while. So the Avatar pops it back to Earth. We can safely assume that Ultima 6 will begin with him being summoned once again into the one thing I know about Ultima 6, really, into a battle in Lord British's throne room with some gargoyles. I don't think the gargoyles that are going to play a prominent role in Ultima 6 are the same as the basic gargoyle enemies in this game that seem to be like statues that crumble into multiple statues as you fight them. I think they're probably some kind of real creature, but I don't know anything else about that. So I'm really looking forward to that because Ultima 6 was the one that made me intrigued by this series. And I'm looking forward to that. But here is so there's that. Overall, my thoughts on Ultima 5 are that it's one of the greatest RPGs I've ever played, easily. I'm trying to think. If I were to make a list of my favorite RPGs of all time, what would be on it? Final Fantasy VI, absolutely. Probably still my favorite, but Ultima 5 now. Ultima 4 was great, but to me, Ultima 5 took everything Ultima 4 did and did every single thing it did better. Except, I guess, Ultima 4 had a much more involved morals and virtue system where you had an invisible score in all of the 8 virtues that was really action dependent, whereas your karma score is largely just about killing people and stealing. And as long as you don't do that, you get your karma up to 99 pretty early. Free those 2 folks from the stocks in U, which I think was way before you were even watching Waffle Syrup. And once you freed them, they're free. Problem solved. And you get up to 99 and then you don't think about karma again in the game. So I guess Ultima 4 had that. But otherwise, the apex of the graphical style that powered the first 4 Ultimas, the conversation system, excellent. I love the keyword type conversation system, which I don't know of any modern games. PC games didn't necessarily converge with console games completely. at least in the RPG sector. Like there's still a lot of most-driven RPGs, but I think they did by and large converge towards the choose one of these pre-written responses style when they do have dialogue trees. Sometimes with a fair bit of complexity, things like Planescape Torment or the Fallout games for that matter. Early Fallout games. I haven't played as much of the Fallout like the first-person shooter Fallouts to know for sure. And then obviously it's sometimes just in a really lazy way, like Mass Effect, where like every dialogue choice you have the I'm a goody two shoes choice and the I'm an asshole for no reason choice, and then the I guess this is the moderate choice that doesn't increase your renegade or your exemplar. I don't know what the two paths are called. I love the conversation system. And I know it remains in Ultima 6, and I believe from what I've heard it goes away as of Ultima 7, probably converging on this. Choose from a list of dialogue options. So I absolutely love it. I'm looking forward to at least one more game with it. On top of that, I found out that the original Wasteland, which I'm probably going to do at some point, although it's not next on the menu, also kind of Interplay stole... They like took their own game, The Bard's Tale, or more like The Bard's Tale 2. They took the good combat from Bard's Tale 2 and they just mashed it together with the exploration conversations and moving around of Ultima. But then post-apocalyptic setting, no magic. It's, we get some plausible deniability in there. It's its own thing. So, yeah. I love that method. I think they should use it in modern PC RPGs. I think that Richard Garriott, although one gets the sense that he's not the kind of guy who would be into this, because it would be too much of a throwback. He always wants to try something new. But he should do a Kickstarter for Ultima 10 done in the style of Ultima 5, except, we could upgrade it to have sprites that face in multiple directions if we must. And certainly we could have distinct sprites for all the Avatar's companions so we can tell them apart. But other than that, just bring it back. Make it more complex if you want. Take advantage of modern PCs. To do some new stuff, but other than that, just do a game like this. Just an open world game that's not about popping open the map and looking at these 700 little dots that say here's a point of interest and then going there and being told, all right, go to 5 more of these points of interest and then return to the original point of interest and you've completed a quest. Just a game that drops you in and says this world needs help, figure it out. Really cool. Just great. So I'm excited, like I said, to dive into Ultima 6, and we will soon. Probably not tomorrow, but soon. And see how, I know it's more most driven, but while still maintaining the keyword style. And obviously I know the graphics, it's a revamped system. It's not as iterative as Ultima 5 is of 4 and all the way back down the chain. But I'm excited to see. Now, here are the plans. Here's the plan for what we're doing going forward. I'm going to say on the fence, but leaning towards doing a stream tomorrow. The only reason that I wouldn't would be that I do want to upgrade my background, my template here, and I want to get the chat on screen and stuff like that. So I've got a few steps to take there. But if I can get that done tomorrow, or even this afternoon, since I'm wrapping up pretty early here, I will be up tomorrow. And what I'll be starting tomorrow will be either a Let's Play of hard mode in Metroid Dread, because I recently beat Metroid Dread. It was a fun game. It had really fun combat, and I'd love to try it again, but harder. And it's not very long, so I could probably knock it out in a few weeks. So I might start that up, or I might launch a Let's Play of Star Control 2, which is, is it an RPG? Is that certainly that's not what Wikipedia calls it. But I will say that the CRPG Addict, a blog of a guy who has set out over a decade ago to play every computer RPG ever released in English. And He's been grinding at it for over a decade, and he's in like I think he's made it from the 70s to 1992, and he did Star Control 2, and he's pretty like he's your standard PC elitist, makes snide comments about consoles. Not standard. He's more open minded than your standard PC elitist, but and like thinks that the JRPG dumbed down RPG conventions. Thinks that The Legend of Zelda dumbed down RPGs, even though Zelda isn't really an RPG. So if he will consider it an RPG, so will I. And Star Control 2, I've played a little bit of it, like an hour or two. I'm going to start again. It's an open galaxy RPG or adventure where, I don't want to spoil the story, but suffice to say, it kind of, with a little bit of prompting from like a quest giver, home base guy who will say like, here's an interesting thing you might want to check out now and then. Other than that, it just drops you in the solar system, like the one that we live in a cool spaceship with a little fleet. A fleet consisting of one other ship. And it just says, all right, save the galaxy. And from that point, you can go as far throughout the galaxy to other stars as your fuel will let you. And every star has its own system of planets, X number of planets. The planets all have moons. You can land on all of them in order to gather resources. If there's life, which there aren't on most planets, but if you find life, you can get biological samples for study. You can find bases. You meet aliens. You have conversations with them through a dialogue tree. Select the response option. The writing is funny. While the storyline is dark and serious, but the tone is irreverent and funny, and the aliens are wacky, and they all have really distinct kind of cultures and personalities. And you try to put an alliance together to save the galaxy. And meanwhile, the combat is like Space Wars, the original video game, or like if you ever played Asteroids. It's like your buttons are turn your spaceship left, turn your spaceship right, put your thrusters on, shoot your weapon, and do your secondary thing. And you just fight dogfights in space with, from what I understand, fairly complicated physics. Like the planets, you can do slingshots around planets if you're a good enough pilot and cool stuff like that. Proper use of inertia and such. You're in space, so if you accelerate a little bit and then stop, you will just drift forever in the vacuum of space. It's a really cool game. So I'm going to fire that up, but I suspect I'm also going to want to go back to Britannia pretty soon. So I might wind up alternating weekends or doing one on Saturday, one on Sunday. Who knows? But yeah, probably streaming tomorrow and starting something new, but maybe taking the day off. I'll cancel it on the schedule if I decide to take the day off. Yeah. What else would I say about Ultima V before I wrap up here? Definitely one of my favorite RPGs I ever played. Really cool game. Excellent writing. Excellent world in the sense that, Britannia itself is a pretty simple kind of okay, it's like Renaissance England, I guess, place. But the waffle syrup, what are you talking about? The melee weapons make no sense. In what? Oh, yes. There's an Ultima 5. Yeah. That carries over from Ultima 4. It does not make sense that a halberd or a Morningstar can go through a wall. But they can. And it's great. It certainly saved me a lot of headaches. The tactical combat isn't going to make anybody forget Fire Emblem, for example. But the tactical combat was certainly better than Ultima 4. It was fun. It was not fast paced would be going too far, but it, except in a few cases, I would say it never really dragged. The spell system is fun. The economy worked really well. Stimpinski, I remember, was saying once said that the crown is horribly unbalanced because you can just cancel the enemy's ability to do magic. But I thought that if we look away from a power gaming type of definition of balance where I want my stats to rise, and I want the game to consistently provide even challenge. And as I level up, I'll fight the tougher monsters, and they should, and maybe things should scale at the upper end, and there could be post-game gear or anything like that. If we think about it less like that and more just like, this is a game where you're on a quest, and your progression in the quest is just as important as your progression through the levels. Well, finding this crown, the crown just does what it says it does, and you basically need that crown to do, like, you can't beat a wisp, like maybe one wisp if it like presents itself to you, but you can't beat a party of wisps that are hidden behind the walls if you don't have that crown. Unless you have the negate magic spell, but then you're at a disadvantage too, because you can't use magic for as long as that spell's active. So in that sense, I thought that like the balance of the game, in the sense that I really did feel like I was on a quest where advancing through the quest was making me more powerful. I was desperate in the beginning, and I was confident at the end in battles. So I thought it was very well balanced in that sense. The writing was great. The NPCs have personality, which you can't even really say of Ultima 4 for the most part, except for my one beloved Lady Donna. There's one shepherdess in Ultima 4, and all the shepherdesses come from Magintia, which in Ultima 4 is not New Magintia yet. It's Magintia, which was the town of pride that then got destroyed by demons as punishment for its pride. And so that's how it became the city of humility. So then all the people from there become shepherds or shepherdesses. And you meet this one shepherdess in a town other than Magintia, because Magintia is just a ruin in Ultima 4. And you meet her, and you talk to her, and it said, when you talk to her, it says you see a 5-foot pregnant woman. So right off the bat, you got some flavor, because like, not just that she's pregnant, so she's very short. If you're short and very pregnant, I imagine that is rougher than, say, a 5'5" woman being pregnant. Then you say, what's your name? I'm Lady Donna. So now, okay, she's a lady she's a shepherdess now, but back when Magintia was booming and it was the town of pride, she was a lady. So she's come down in the world, in addition to the fact that being pregnant is stressful. Then you ask her what her job is. She says, I tend to my sheep. And then if you say the keyword sheep, she says, I can't stand sheep. And that's it. That's all of her text. But you get a full picture of a person there. And for the most part, every other NPC in Ultima 4 is just like, I like the virtue that my town is associated with. Or, I know a clue about a magic item. Whereas this time around, the people do care about virtues, and they do have clues, but they also all have their own stuff going on. They follow a day-night cycle. That, from what I understand, was actually a revolutionary thing that Ultima 5 did for the first time. They care about things. They have their own agenda. You can talk to them. You can have rich conversations with NPCs that don't give you a thing to help you solve the game. Especially in New Magintia, I was really impressed. Some of the shepherds' dialogue there, or the farmers there, had really thoughtful dialogue about the nature of virtue and the importance of free will. Really good stuff. And I'm looking forward to seeing how that in what ways it goes to another level up when we come back to Ultima 6. And yeah, I think that's a good spot to shut it down and say, Ultima 5, thank you for a lot of entertainment, a lot of fun that I had. Got to meet, some nice people. Stupinski, British, you're not here, but you're here. You're here with me right to the end of the journey, even if you had other things to do on your Saturday afternoon. And yeah, what a game. I've been playing a lot of classic CRPGs lately, and some of them have not aged well. Or there are things about them that just didn't age well. Even Ultima 4, there are ways in which I was like, this game shows its age. There are ways, Ultima 5 shows its age, like the graphics are very simple and stuff like that. But there was very little when I was playing the game where I just thought the quality of life features are just not there. There's this thing that they should have added. There's this thing. This process is too clumsy. I don't know. Feels like Ultima doesn't come up enough when I read contemporary video game criticism and commentary. Given that the open world RPG, among other things, or open worlds generally, are so popular, and it's like, well, here's the guy in the game series that made that concept up as early as the late 70s. It was great. Thank you, Lord British Richard Garriott, for making this game all those years ago. And thanks to everyone who tuned in along the way, everyone who's watching now. If it's anyone other than Waffle Syrup, and if it's just you, Waffle Syrup, I'm glad you were here. I'm looking forward to checking something else out. Hopefully with you in tow. Hopefully with some of the rest of you who've checked this one in tow. And so, as I often say, as we wrap up here, until the next time our paths cross, take care of yourselves and be kind to everyone you meet.